Welcome to Ask Earl Anything. This is the show where your questions make the show. Without questions, I don't have a show. This is for October 2023. So we're out of the summertime. We're into the fall. Everything's moving forward towards the end of another year. It's crazy how fast life goes on. That's one of the things I'm so enamored with, is how quickly life moves forward. And it's just hard to believe some of the things I'm seeing. I was just looking back at a video a minute ago from last year around this time. I guess it was the month before, so it was the right around the August video, and I had 6,000 subscribers. And somewhere in the last month or so, I just crossed 2 million views. I was trying to figure out when I hit 1 million views. And I think that was sometime last year. And the reason I'm talking about this is what happens in YouTube is when you're around here for long enough and your videos have been around long enough and you continue to stay here producing more videos, exponentially things start to grow bigger and bigger and bigger without really even you trying to do it. It just starts to happen. So that's where I'm kind of at right now. Somewhere in the next couple months, I'll be at 8,000 subscribers, whatever that means. The views will continue to go up. What amazes me is some of my videos that people really enjoy watching and connect to me with. I've noticed a lot of guys connecting with Steely Dan videos. Whenever I put a new Steely Dan, no matter what it is, it seems to get some interest because I do a lot of Steely Dan covers. The Carpenters, of course, always get a lot of interest. There's a lot of pop tunes I do that are popular to your ear from my generation, which brings me to, I'm going to do some shout outs at the beginning of the show this time. And the reason I'm going to do some shout outs is, I've got a group of followers that follow every day, and some have asked questions in this show today, and I really appreciate them. I'm also starting to develop some followers that find me that are guys that are getting into the YouTube thing. Maybe they've got in the last year or 2 or 3 or 4, and they finally found me, and they're putting out videos, and I want to encourage them. So part of my mission for this channel from day one was to encourage other drummers. So the focus of today's show is really on encouragement. I appreciate your encouragement. I want to encourage others. Now, living in a world of YouTube doesn't always mean encouragement's going to happen. We'll talk about that too today. But let's talk about encouraging some guys. So I'm going to start today's show out, not with a shout out to my followers. You all know who you are, be it Jeff or Greg One-Off, who's got a couple questions today, or there's so many of you. Dr. Detroit. There's guys that just come all the time. D drums. These are guys that constantly, and I have some ladies too, like Elaine and Carrie Churchill, who basically play drums and they follow me too. So I'm realizing I got a little club here. And the one thing I don't want to do is do the Patreon thing. Like, let's have a clubhouse and let's do Patreon, because I don't really want to make any money off anybody here. I've even got this thanks button here. Nobody knows what that thanks button is, and it's for those who want to give you extra money, like tip you or something. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not even doing it for the Google money, to be honest. I'm doing this for fun. It goes back to those 4 words on the back of my merch. If you want to buy some merch, that's another thing. I even talk about that because I got a couple guys that actually. I have one guy that sent me something. He's showing some of my merch. We'll talk about him. He's another one of the great guys that follow me every day, John. And my grandson's going to be on here too today a little bit. I want to feature my grandson. I got some conversation about him, and he's wearing my t-shirt. So I have merch. So what? I got merch. I've got people that follow me. I've got numbers, blah, 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 yada, yada. But I want to encourage others. That's my goal here, is to encourage others here in this. But I know guys that have Patreon and they do Clubhouse and they hang out. I feel like we got a hang going. If any of you guys that follow me can figure out how to do a hang, You know, maybe it's a live stream hang. I don't know. But when I've done live streams, it's me really working hard to keep up with you guys throwing in the comments. You know what I mean? I would almost need a moderator to do a live stream again for me to do it with like a hang. But maybe I'll try that again at some point in time. I have some guys that kind of follow me. One guy, Brian Gribbins. I'm going to throw out to Brian Gribbins. My wife is going to be on his show pretty soon. Brian Gribbins does a interview show, a podcast, and he's got my wife on it, 2 parts. So check out Stephanie, and when it happens, I will try to do like a little short or something to promote my wife's thing. I think part 2 is better than part 1 because I've kind of watched part 2. Really got into some cool things with my wife, but want to shout out to my wife, Stephanie. Steffa Bennett. She's got her own channel called The Secret Place. It's actually, you can find it on my channel. You can go to it. But Brian's been asking me through my wife a couple times, am I going to ever start doing interviews again? I haven't done an interview since Zach Jones, the drummer for Sting, over a year ago. I haven't done an interview with anybody. I wanted to start doing interviews, but interviews take time. But maybe I'll start that again. Maybe I'll start doing interviews. If I ever do, Brian, I will invite you if I ever get a real schedule of interviews. But right now, interviews and live streams take up time I don't have. It's easier for me to kick some drum covers out. And plus, drum covers are just fun for me. You know, when I do drum covers, I do them for fun. So, just like these guys. So I'm going to shout out to these drummers who I've found over the years. Some are old-time friends. Some are new friends. Some may not even be friends. But we've kind of found each other, and I just wanted to share. So this is a new guy who I just found today. He asked a question about one of my videos. It wasn't a question. It was a comment on a Warren Zevon video. He liked the sound of it. His name is, he goes by the handle Old Metalhead, and I'll put this up there. And he goes by the name of Terry, and he does covers. He does a lot of metal covers, but he does some other stuff, some old rock stuff, you know, classic rock type things. From what I can tell, he seems like he's a good drummer. He's getting back into it, or he left it for a while, came back. I'm not sure. Or maybe he's been in it his whole life. Don't know his stories. He got videos for the last 3 or 4 years. So check out Old Metalhead. Another guy who I think I may have mentioned once, but I'm not sure. He's got some great drum kits. His name is Bob, and he goes by Drum City Bob. So Drum City Bob. He's only got 257 subscribers. He does some old Steely Dan. He's a good drummer. He plays some jazz, some swing. He's a really good drummer, really good drummer. Got some really cool drums. He had a Craviotto kit this week he was talking about a little bit. Check out Drum City Bob. Check him out, man. This is one of those guys. I like guys that are players. He's a real player. So he kind of goes in the Jim Flies 2 category, you know, Jim Huey. Really a great player, and I enjoy Jim's playing. By the way, check out Jim's playing. I wasn't throwing out to Jim because Jim's an old-time friend, and he hangs with the crew all the time, too. He's one of the guys that follows me all the time. A new guy to some of you, but not all of you. If you're in the drum community, he's heavily in the drum community. The one that goes by Drum Tubers, I think they call them. It's Ash Wells's community. I haven't really thrown into that community, to be honest, because it's just not my thing. I can't do another social media thing. So YouTube's what I do, and I got my community that I really enjoy. So nothing to this community, but I think Continuum M, Lutz from Germany, is in that group. Okay? Him and my friend Drumico, who's Gunter, who just did an interview on the Drumatic channel. Gunter is a jazz drummer, plays rock too, but he's from Germany. Lutz and Gunter are 2 great drummers, so check them both out. Drumico and Continuum with an M drums. So just did something, a song called Hungry Eyes. Good drummer, really good drummer, Lutz. Check him out. Another guy who I don't know his name. This guy's interesting. If you watch his videos, he just films with a camera. He puts the music on real loud and he just plays along to it. And he packs up his drums in a car and goes out in the woods somewhere and plays. So he's always got a different setting. He's got a Yamaha kit. Goes by Mo2Fly7. Mo2Fly7 is his name. And he's playing some Tower Power, Steely Dan, all kinds of cool songs. So I enjoy picking him up and watching his stuff. So check him out. Another guy who's been around for a long time goes by name Stamatis. His channel is Stamstolis Drums. He's from Greece. I think I said it right, Stamatis, but I'm not sure I'm saying Stamatis right, to be honest. But he's been a drummer for a long time, friend for a long time. He comments quite often in the community too. Check out Stamatis' channel, Stamstolis Drums. And these are guys that need some love. They can't seem to get the vibe over that 1,000 mark. Matter of fact, I'm going to throw another guy in who you all know. He's part of the community. CCM drummer. Matthew. Now, he's got a real niche. His niche is CCM music. So if you're not really a CCM head, I understand why you don't follow him, but he's a good drummer. He's been down here. I've done a cover with him. I did a collaboration with him last year. He's trying to get 1,000 subs. Help him get 1,000 subs. Join his channel if you don't know him already. Another guy goes by Sal M. He's got a Gretsch kit. He's been a player for years. I will say to Sal that sound quality, if you can work on that, that'd be great. It would help keep me more in the game watching you. I know you're a good player because I watched you play. You can play stuff. He definitely plays live gigs. He's been a gigging drummer. Sal M is the guy. Check him out. He just did Somewhere Out There by Linda Ronstadt. I love that song. I used to play that. My wife used to sing it in the wedding band back in the day with James Ingram. I think I'm going to do that one of these days. Not anytime soon, but he just did it. But check him out. And I got another new friend. He goes by the Tired Drummer. And his name is Ken. And he's retired. And most of these, I think not all these guys, but some of these guys are retired. There's no doubt about it. Ken is retired. Ken puts out a lot of stuff. He puts out 2 or 3 a day. He just drops them every day. So I'm a little more calculated in when I drop. I do like a bunch on a weekend and I drop them 1 a day over a week. I do not like to just make them and throw them out. Make them and throw them out. I don't do that. I haven't done that ever, I don't think. That was one of the things I learned about getting the following on YouTube is make your content consistent and keep it as consistent as possible. So me dropping 1 a day really does keep my content very fresh and consistent. So with that said, these are all older guys, not necessarily retirement age. Some are retirement age, some are not retirement age. And I have a bunch of these guys that are friends of mine on YouTube, and I want to support them. And I want to support the club that likes to follow me, the guys, the people that follow me and the ladies that follow me every day. You guys are who I encourage. I do drum covers for you. Now, it's funny, every once in a while I do drum covers for me, as you know. I make no bones about that. I play songs I want to play. But you guys really enjoy the stuff I'm picking. But every once in a while I throw a curveball at you. You know, I throw like War Pigs by Black Sabbath. That was an interesting day. You know, I got a lot of views that day and some other people watching my channel. And I may do some more Black Sabbath if I can just find the right ones, you know. Black Sabbath is really just a blues band, you know what I mean? Bill Ward was a great drummer, great blues drummer. He plays some really cool stuff in the kind of the bottom Ian Paiste vein, you know what I mean? Those guys are all believe it or not, that's my world. I understand that world. It's not hard for me to understand that world. It's much harder for me to understand the world of today, like what my grandson was doing. My grandson just did a Copeland song. I did one of his Copeland songs last December, I think I did it. He did some moving camera on a Copeland song. I think it was called Pin Your Wings. He did the song, but he won't let me release it. It's not there. But he came over last weekend, and I released one of his songs. I've got another one for this week to release. It's from a band called Thrice. These are not bands that I listen to, by the way. Thrice was super heavy, and at the end of the video, my grandson says to me, Asher says, So Poppy, what can I improve? And I said, I don't have any comments on what you can improve. He goes, what'd you think? I said, it was loud. That's what I thought. It was just loud. It was just super loud. It's like, it's not my thing, you know? He knows it's not my thing, but he did a great job of it, and I'm going to put it out, you know, on my channel for him. But, you know, I've got to be open to playing other stuff, but I try to pick stuff that you all like. That's kind of the theme of this whole thing. But you can't make everybody happy. You know what I mean? When I put stuff out, I don't always make people happy. I've had a couple people that have been a little crotchety with me, and I'm an old dude now. So, you know, see the hair? Old dude. Old dude has been playing a long time. So my first comment question, because I've got all this positive energy, I want to just shout it out to all these new friends and all my good friends who watch me. So hopefully you're all staying in right now, because I'm just talking about you guys. I'm not talking about me, but I got a bunch of questions. This wasn't really a question, but this was a comment that I wanted to comment on. It happened today. Now, I had 2 or 3 of these this month, and one of them was really funny. It just went south real quick. I'm not even going to bring the guy's name up. I don't even care about who the guy is. I'm not going to go find it either. It was a couple weeks ago, and the guy just said the dumbest thing. It was one of those stupid remarks, and I deleted it. It's like 6 in the morning. Those of you from Europe, you know, like all of a sudden you see me up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning posting videos. Those of you in the United States, I'm up pretty early. So if you're up pretty early, sometimes you find me, you know, very early dropping. But a lot of times it's Europe that finds me. You know, they find me first because I'm dropping at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning. And I had this guy drop. He said a really nasty little thing, and I just deleted it. And then 2 minutes later, he dropped another one on me. And when he dropped it on me, he kind of like made comments about my weight and all kinds of stuff. He didn't like my drumming. It's like, I don't care if you don't like my drumming, you know? And I tried not to say anything to the guy, but he provoked me to say something. And what I basically said was, like I say to everybody, dude, if you don't like my drumming, if you don't like my weight, you know, leave. You don't have to watch this stuff. But leaving dumb comments on my videos is not something that I want to leave for the most part. But the other thing I say is, show me how you play it. And none of these guys can show me how they play it. So this was today's comment. I thought this was interesting. This is on Can't You See, You Doing Me Wrong, Tower Power. Now, I will say, I have no idea if I'm playing exactly like David Garibaldi. I'm vibing like David Garibaldi. A couple of you said, man, where is that? What is the time there? You guys are like trying to figure like, how do you count that? I have no idea. I don't know how to count that song. It's a vibe. It's a paradiddle vibe, and I'm kind of vibing along with the guitarist and the bassist and Garibaldi, and I'm finding the center. And you can feel when it like kind of straightens up and gets a little bit straighter, and then the other stuff's kind of sloppy, greasy funk. Okay, that's what it is. It's greasy funk. It's not perfect. I'm not even trying to do it perfect. I'm just trying to vibe David Garibaldi. So this guy goes to me. This came in today. He goes, this groove is not how it's supposed to be. It is too difficult for you. Stay with the easy stuff, with all respect. That's with all respect? Stay with the easy stuff. I did a Pat Metheny song this week. You can go through my catalog and find plenty of hard stuff I've done. I don't do easy stuff. I try to do hard stuff. Matter of fact, some of the stuff that you call easy isn't that easy. It's not that easy for you to do it. And I know it's not that easy for you to do it because a lot of guys don't do this stuff. I actually have guys that tell me, I can't play slow. Try playing slow with a metronome. Then take the metronome away and keep it steady. 60 beats per minute. I practice stuff like that. Why? Because playing a ballad with sensitivity is just as hard as playing all that crappy chops all over the place. And I wish I had all the chops in the world, but I don't have the time to develop it. And I respect the guys who do it, but don't tell me that playing chops makes it hard, and me playing something in the pocket at a very slow tempo is easy. It's not easy. And if you're going to make a comment like that, then you better make sure you say and show me you can play the easy stuff you think is easy. Because I can tell you right now, playing ain't easy all the time. Not if you're doing it with a click, not if you're doing it with a band and you're trying to hold the tempo back. It's not easy, all right? So saying, oh, you play the easy stuff. I'm not playing easy stuff. This Hal Blaine stuff's not easy. I can tell you that right now. Trying to play any of this stuff I try to do authentically, it's not easy. Now, I'm better at it than some people, and some people are better at it than me. So what? That doesn't matter. That's not what I do this for. So he said, this is too difficult for me. Tower Power is too difficult for me. I'm going to keep trying Tower Power. I got another one coming this week. Okay? You don't like it? Too bad. So here's what I wrote back to him. I said, with all respect back to you, please show me how it is done. If you're going to open up your mouth and give me one of these comments that it's stay in your lane, that's a stay in your lane. It's too difficult for you. Stay in your lane. If you're going to give me a stay in your lane comment, then prove it to me. Okay? Please show me how it's done. If you can't show me how it's done, then shut your mouth. That's how I feel about it. Because I don't see any drumming videos on your channel of your playing. I humbly take criticism from drummers who at least show me they know what they're talking about. Saying it's too difficult for me, meaning I can't learn and grow, come on. One thing over the last 7 years I've proven is I am getting better. Even Jim Flies 2 has said that to me a couple times. Like, you're getting better. You know what? When you play all the time, you get better. It's like a gig if you have a gig all the time. And I've been working on things I never worked on for years. I got away with on gigs because I can play the basics really well, but I didn't have to work on the left side of my playing. So I'm doing a lot more with the left side of my playing. I'm changing the way I do things. Matter of fact, I have a few questions about how I'm changing things. And I have made some significant changes, and I'm realizing it's cleaning up a lot of my sound by making these changes. So I'm all about growing and learning, okay? I said I will listen to any drummer who can show me how to do it better, and I do, by the way. Every drummer out there that I see in some kind of a high-profile place or has a decent video that I can sit and watch, I learn from. I am not ashamed to say that, okay? But here's what I said to him. But everyone can criticize on the internet. That takes no talent at all. Think about it. It takes no talent at all to criticize people. To be nice to people, that's hard. It's hard to bite your tongue. So I guess the old man is going to give you a lesson. If you're going to spend your time throwing at me, I'm going to give you your lesson right back. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. I try to practice that, but this guy really today, it was kind of like, it's too difficult for me? That wasn't too difficult for me, and it wasn't out of the pocket, and it's got more views than I thought I would get on the stupid song. And the other thing is, if I had to play that song with a band, I'd find the middle ground with that band and we'd get through it. Would it be David Garibaldi's exact track? Nobody's playing David Garibaldi's exact track. And if I find the guy who is, and he's transcribed and he does it, I'll applaud him. I don't really want to be David Garibaldi's exact track. Even David Garibaldi says, I've updated my playing in Tower Power after 50 years being in the band. I don't play things the way I used to play them. Listen to some of his interviews. I listen to David Garibaldi when he's on the internet. So when I see David Garibaldi talking, I'll sit and listen for a half hour. And he'll say those kinds of things. Yeah, I played Squib Cakes this way, but now I play it this way. And I've done more of this. And he kind of breaks it down. I don't think he knew what he was doing back then. He was working on certain things, but he didn't kind of write it out. He had his vibe, and he still has that vibe. I like David Garibaldi's vibe. Anyhow, all that to say is, I want to be encouraging, but if you want to say a nasty comment at me or something, I'm either going to throw it away or I'm going to come back with one of these, because old man has no time for that stuff anymore. Okay? Just letting you know that. All right. I got another question. I got another question. This question comes from my good friend John Breeze, 805, and the question is this. It's going to be a video question.
Hey Earl, John from the Jersey Shore, just checking in with my Ask Earl Anything mug that I use every day. My question is, have you ever been asked to play in front of the beat or behind the beat? And what's the purpose of that? And why not just stay on the beat?
That's a great question. That is a great question. Thank you for buying an Ask Earl Anything mug, John. Appreciate that, and showing your wares on the show today. Behind the beat, in front of the beat, on the beat. I will tell you that the train of thought when the click track came into town, and I was around when the click track became the thing. You had to play with the click. Because my first album I played on, the reason I got let go from the album and John Hammond came in and played was because I didn't play with the click the way they wanted it played. Now, I would say to anybody, if you're working with a click, play dead on it. But over time of doing that, you'll start to hear when you're pushing it on top of the click, which I have a tendency to do, by the way. That's my tendency, especially with my foot, is to be a little ahead of the click. And I know it because I've recorded a lot. And I recorded myself a lot, and I still have it. And I don't know, it's a balance thing. And it's probably because I never played with a click as a child. There was no click track as a child. When I got a metronome, it was in college. It was a Seth Thomas metronome, click, 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 one of those bad boys. And I was just doing snare drum stuff. Nothing for the ears. I didn't start playing with clicks like that until I bought a drum machine in the mid-'80s. 85, I bought a drum machine, Roland TR-505, I think it was, the first one I bought. And then I bought a Lisa's HR-16, which I still own today. I have it somewhere. And I used to use that as a click, just as a cowbell, and I would listen and create clicks. And then I got a Dr. Beat and a Tama rhythm watch. And now you can get a metronome for anyone, a metronome app for any phone. So practicing with a click is ridiculously stupid not to do it. And most drummers today, they start playing with a click at a very young age, and they get very good at locking with the click. But then once you lock with the click, there's this thing of playing behind the beat or playing on top of the beat. And I will tell you, in a live situation, one that's not recorded, one that is you playing with a band, it is most important you be dead center on the click as much as possible. But what ends up happening is when you get to like a verse you may pull back a little bit on it and try to sit further back. And on a chorus, you may push a little on top. And why are you doing that? Well, that's the natural flow of music. And if you listen to the great music, you'll always feel that the verse is kind of sitting back and trying to be relaxed. And then all of a sudden it gets to the chorus where it builds up. There's a build and it pushes a little bit. Jeff Porcaro used to talk about this all the time, where the chorus goes up a couple notches and you come back in, you come out of the fill, and it backs down to the original tempo and you kind of sit back on it. Well, when the click track came, it became milliseconds of difference, like being on top versus a little behind. Now, the great grooves at 80 and 70 beats per minute, that magical ballad kind of tempos that we talk about, is drummers that can play dead on with their bass drum on beat 1 and 3, and then on the 2 and 4, just pull it back a hair. That's kind of the Nashville sound. So that, it's just a little behind the beat. And that's how you hear a lot in the Nashville records. LA is more dead on usually. And like John Robinson told me in a lesson I took with him, he said, in LA, we use quarter note clicks. So we have the space between the clicks to basically lock it. In Nashville, it's more of an eighth note thing. And most of the stuff I did in churches was always eighth note clicks. That kind of click. So with that being said, what's the difference? I would say to anybody practicing with a click track is to try to be dead on all the time, until you understand exactly what we're talking about. And then when we're talking about pulling it back, we're talking about a hair. We're not talking about way back or way on top. We're talking about you're pretty much on the beat, but you're just a little bit shifted. So that's where this terminology thing gets really strange, and it kind of throws people. And if you're hip enough to understand it, it really is something you hear. And the only way you hear it is by listening to metronomes or recording yourself incessantly and looking at where you land your beats. I record myself all the time with a click, and I can tell you where I'm hitting the beats because you can see it. But back in the day when you couldn't see it and you were just playing to a click with it on a piece of tape, it was all about hearing it. And if you didn't sound like you were ahead or behind, matter of fact, if you sounded like you're on it pretty much, that was a good take. If everybody was stayed in it together, it was a good take. And if you were burying it, you wouldn't hear the click. Because when you bury the click is gone. It actually gets erased. John Robinson talked about that in the interview with me, how there was this one take that him and Louis Johnson were doing, and they buried the click. It was 8 clicks up front, and then they came in and they were dead on it the whole track, and it was buried the whole time, and you couldn't even hear the click. So the click is the magical thing. Today everybody uses clicks, but everybody plays around the click. Nobody's a total machine, unless you're one of the guys that works in Nashville. Okay, so the Nashville guys are machines. The studio guys of old are machines, and even those guys will tell you that they've been Pro Toolsed, meaning they've been beat detectived and put on the grid to be perfect. And perfect takes the feel out of a tune, but that's another question, another thing. So thanks for the question, John. That was a good one. It's a hard one to explain, but behind the beat, ahead of the beat, I would say work on being on the beat, dead on the beat all the time. That's what you should always work on. And if you do that, you'll start to feel the difference between a little relaxed as behind and a little on top as ahead. That's what you're going to be feeling. So great question. This comes from my grandson's video, No One Really Wins Copeland. This comes from Greg Oneoff. By the way, I want to say shout out to my grandson Asher. Here's a picture of Asher. He's wearing one of my shirts. I was going to have him do like a little commercial for my shirts, but I haven't done that. I'm really not hawking the merch, but there's plenty of merch in this video today with the cup and the shirt. Pretty cool. I need to get a black shirt with just writing on it. That's what I got to do. Put the 4 words on there. I'm going to do that one of these days, maybe before Christmas, because this $30 for a shirt's expensive. And who's really making the money is Google, because they own Spring. They're the ones making the money. I'm not really making any money. I don't think I've seen a penny from anything yet. So I probably haven't hit that point where I made a profit. Anyhow, this question comes from Greg Oneoff. It's about Asher's video. Maybe on your next Ask Earl Anything, you could tell us a bit about Asher. How old he is, what grade he's in, does he play in the band at school, what kind of music does he like to play? I know you have posted him playing before, but I can't remember if he played a Gretsch kit or the Monster kit. Does he prefer one over the other? Thank you, Asher, for, he called him Masher, by the way, for sharing your drumming with us. My grandson's 11 years old, Asher Cole Knight. His background is I put sticks in his hands at 8 months, and he was 8 months. He just did that without even thinking. I mean, it was. If I have that video, I don't know if I do have it somewhere. I don't know if I can share it, but if I find it, I'll stick it in here. Just him smacking the snare drum pretty steady at 8 months was pretty wild. I knew the kid was going to be a drummer. I've been encouraging him being a drummer for a long time. His dad's a drummer, okay? So he comes from a musical family, but he plays violin, he plays piano very well, he plays cajon at church. He's been playing cajon since he was a little kid. One of the things we used to do, especially when Matt was alive, we used to just sit in the living room and jam with djembes and cajons and all that stuff, and Asher would join right in. So we've been doing that for years here at this house. So he's been around music for a long time. He's got an ear. He can sing. He sang on a project that my son-in-law produced last year. So music's in his bones. He's homeschooled. So he doesn't play in a school band right now, but he does play in an orchestra. plays violin in an orchestra. He's not playing drums in an orchestra. But he loves playing drums. He's got a set of drums at home. It's his dad's drums. So he's working on stuff. His favorite music seems to be like Copeland, Thrice. So it's kind of hard-edged music. I don't know many kids that don't like that kind of stuff. He did a Toto cover. So he did Africa. That was the one that he did. He did it on that kit. He loves playing all the kits. My grandkids come in here and play the drums. Whatever kit's here, they play. So Asher's been on this kit. My grandson Elliot's been on this kit. They've all been on this kit. And they've all been on that kit. I've got grandkid pictures at all my drums, going all the way back to my first grandson, Ryan, when he was a little one in New Jersey. And behind my Vistalite kit, I had a green Vistalite kit. I got a picture of him, me holding him at the green Vistalite kit. So it's kind of a thing with the grandkids. There's one grandkid. Every grandkid that I have has been, you find me behind the drum kit with them at one point, sitting on my lap doing something. But Asher's the one that's kind of the break forward guy playing drums. So I don't know. He's going to be a musician. He's writing songs. He hasn't learned guitar yet, but I'm sure he will at some point. He plays piano very well. And I think he's got a solid groove. My thing with him is I got to get him some more traditional lessons. He can read, he reads violin and stuff. So I think reading is not going to be the problem. But I'd like to get him some more traditional lessons. But right now, drums are an outlet to him. So I encourage him to play. So he picks up from records. He has a Spotify playlist. He puts it on his headphones and he plays. That's where these two songs are from. So this week when I release the Thrice song, you will know it because it's one of his playlists. He did a really good job with it. Thrice and Copeland, those two bands. There's probably some other songs in there he likes. It's modern music, what his dad likes. He likes Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, he likes that group. He likes Chicago. He hasn't done any Earth, Wind, and Fire. He likes Toto. So he listens to the music that's thrown around him. And, of course, he's grown up around me and his father. So his father's got more modern edge because he's a little bit younger than me. He's my daughter's age, 40-ish. And I've got the more older stuff. So Asher's been absorbing all of it. So thanks for the question, Greg. I think that's a great question. And I'll show some pictures of Asher here. Next question comes from a guy named Steve Akers. It was on a Styx video recently. It said, question, how do you get the Styx video in there without copyright ding? I guess I had a green screen on this one. He said, I tried it with Willie and Merle's song, used the blue screen and dropped the video behind me, and it got nuked. Well, here's the thing about YouTube. You need to know. Some things get through on YouTube. Sometimes it's the music, sometimes it's the video. I actually had a green screen video where it got nuked too. I can't remember the name of it. All I did was take it out and put the music up and it worked. I got it in there. So if you get nuked for the video, that's easy. Just take the video out and do it again. You don't have to recut the whole thing. The green screen's behind you, that's all. But there's no rhyme or reason to why they nuke certain things. There really isn't. I think I've only been nuked for a video one time. I'll tell you what the song was. I did the song Fox on the Run. Fox on the Run. Dun, dun, ba, da, do. I forget I think it was Sweet. The band Sweet did it a couple years ago. Now, there was no video to that Sweet song. None at all. But there was a video that was popular a couple years before that called What Does the Fox Say? Matter of fact, Asher hated that video. That's a funny story. I won't tell you that. I won't tell you Asher's stories. But this is a funny story. So I took the What Does the Fox Say video and I put it on the green screen behind me playing Fox on the Run. And it got nuked. It got nuked right on Fox on the Run, on the What Does the Fox Say? And I had to pull that off and just make it just the video of me playing Fox on the Run by Sweet without the green screen. So I've had it happen to me. But it's more likely that the song's going to get blocked. I've had more of those. And those continue to happen too. I've had a few more happen. And they come free occasionally. So That's the one thing you're guaranteed in YouTube world is that you're going to put something out and then it's going to get blocked. And when it gets blocked, or it gets partially blocked. Today I released a Billy Joel song. It's partially blocked, which means it's highly unlikely a partially blocked song will get in the stream. It's highly unlikely that a partially blocked song will get the number of views that I could get on a song that is not blocked by anybody. That's just the truth. Because of one country, it's usually Russia too. It's like they don't want Russia to see Billy Joel songs. I don't know why. Billy Joel loves Russia. He went to one of the first American artists to go to Russia. Not the first, but one of the first during the Cold War. By the way, there's a cool documentary coming out on Blood, Sweat, and Tears about them going to Russia in the 70s. Bobby Colomby was talking about it on a podcast with Steve Maxwell, drums. When it comes out, I want to see it because that's a very interesting thing because the backstory is they were doing this for the State Department, going to Russia. So that sounds like a very interesting story. But yeah, when things get nuked, they get nuked, and you're just stuck with it. So you can redo a nuked video. You can take it out and get away with it, like I did with Fox on the Run. I just recut it. I just took the green screen out, but it wasn't fun. I thought it looked cool with, what does the Fox say behind there? So anyhow, that's that. Next question comes from Mickey F3730. Mickey, another follower, guy's on all the time. Great cover, my friend. I like the brushes in the song. Were they in the original? I read you didn't use a click. My question is, can you expand more on them? I use Moises, and I'm not sure if it has one. I could use it, especially when songs have different tempos. Okay, let's talk about American Pie. Bye Bye Miss American Pie. I watched a movie on that last summer. Great movie. The movie really affected me in a kind of an interesting way. It kind of brought up a lot of emotions and stuff. Really learning where the song comes from and everything. So I wanted to do the song. This is when I just started using Moises, by the way. By the way, I'm officially now a Moises guy. Even though they fixed X-Track stems, they put out 4.1. The day I bought Moises, 2 days later, I got an email from X-Track saying, okay, we're going to fix it. Download 4.1 and it'll fix it. And it did. It fixed it, but it's still slower than Moises. I will tell you what I've learned about Moises for the computer. I'm not talking about the iPad or the phone version. But for the computer, it does clicks. It identifies chords. I mean, it's amazing what this thing does. This thing is deep. It breaks out into 5 tracks. You can have it break out with bass, drums, metronome, okay? Then you can have other and vocal, or you can have other guitar vocal, or other piano vocal, or other strings vocal. You can break it out in different ways depending on what kind of song you're doing. So you can get your breakout totally different, and it's really cool. And then it has the key. It's just really a good program. So it does produce a click, and I know what you can do is you can make a track with a click on it, which I don't want to do. It's good for practicing, but I don't want to do that. So that's probably what you're doing with this, Mickey. You're making a track with a click. Now the clicks do move with the song because a song like American Pie's got a moving click. It's got a basic tempo. It'll tell you the basic tempo is X, but in actuality, the click moves because the song moves. It's called beat mapping. And Logic does beat mapping, and I've been using that for X-Track stems for a while now. And I actually prefer the Logic click, so I usually use that over the loud woodblock click they got on Moises. It's just kind of a little too harsh for me. But I could use it, and I have used it occasionally for things. But yeah, a song like American Pie, the click was moving too all over the place to make it fun. It was easier just to vibe with the drummer. It's kind of like playing along with a record, and I'm pretty good at playing along with records. Drum covers is nothing more than me putting a needle on a record as a kid and playing along to it, and finding the beat, and feeling the music, and feeling the movement. Now, if you're playing with something that was done with a click's really kind of nice. Like I just did this song, Baby Come to Me, Patty Austin song. I may even use a little bit of it for my next question. I'm not going to use the whole song. I'm going to use bass and drums on it. But I had a click on it because it was so locked to a click. Now, again, the click wasn't perfect, like 77 on the metronome or 84 on the, whatever the tempo was. I think it might have been 84. It wasn't a perfect 84 where you drop 84 and it just lines up, because those guys, when they recorded it, they're a little ahead, a little behind. They're on top or behind. That's where you feel the on top behind, is when you take a Moises program and you can feel the tempo, like, oh, they're pushing. Oh, now they're pulling back. They're pushing. So, John, I recommend you get Moises and take some of your favorite songs and you'll start to understand this ahead behind thing. But a song like Bye Bye Miss American Pie did not require me to use the click. It was easier to play without the click and just follow the bass and the piano. It's kind of like a live gig, and I kind of knew where it was going in the vocal, and I did a good job of navigating it, so I didn't use the click. The brushes at the end, well, I made that up. And you can tell I made it up because it's just a little, it's not, there's no drums there, so I put some drums into it at the very end with some Bye Bye Miss American Pie. I'm just doing a basic 8-note drum groove on the with brushes. So anyhow, hope that explained that one, Mickey. But yeah, I would say with Moises, download the clicks and play along with them. But sometimes I find it just to be a little overkill. And sometimes the click's not needed for me. I'd rather play along with the drummer, is what I'm saying. All right, my next one is from the song Sooner or Later, The Grassroots. It's another Greg One-Off question. He said, and this was the question I wanted to get to. I think it may be my last question. Let me make sure it is my last question. I think it's my last question. So this is my last question, Greg. You're the last question of the day. And this question goes to, I've noticed on your last few videos, you have switched your left hand around to normal position. Any reason why? So here's the big change. If you've been watching Ask Your Earl Anything my whole career, and probably up to the last 6 months of my drumming, most of the time you would see this, me playing this way. And I had some, I wish I could find the comment. It's so old, it's so long ago. It's on one of my old Ask Earl Anything shows. And it might have been Vince Gomez, who was on last show showing my shirt off, by the way. I think it might have been Vince Gomez, but it was somebody asked me the question, why do you play like this, and doesn't it affect your rolls? And the answer to the question is, it does affect my rolls. And I even said that to him. It affects my rolls in a way that it's not even. And it's kind of sloppy. You know? It's more clean with the tips. So I started thinking about it. And one of the other things I've been realizing is getting a great drum sound on a snare drum is about hitting the drum in the middle of the head. It's not with the rim shot. By the way, this makes a great rim shot. But the rim shot is not really a pretty sound to the microphone. The microphone doesn't like the rim shot. It adds a little bit of this frequency that sometimes gets a little wild when I'm trying to EQ. And I found that when I play the drums dead center, it just has a better sound. So why I switched, Greg, has everything to do with sound and my technique getting better than anything else. Now, I still will go to, I used to think this was the best rim click. But I found I can get that sound with the front end of the stick. And I'm doing it now. And I'm getting a consistent sound. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm growing. And listen to this groove. I'll probably have this groove going before I say this to you, but I'm going to definitely put this little groove in. And you can see me groove with the bass player and the rim click. And then when I go to the snare, and you listen to how consistent it sounds. Because that's really what you're going for when you're recording is... about the sound. The sound is what it's about. And the sound is really what I'm going for. And I'm learning that I can play the sticks like this and get a better sound. In the last 6-9 months, I've been working on it. So you've probably seen more of me playing this way than playing this way. Every once in a while I still do this, but this is the way I'm going. And I'm finding my sound is better. So probably some of you go, yeah, duh, it's a better sound. Why didn't you figure that out? Well, I played 40-something years without ever playing it any other way, pretty much. It's, you know, that's the bottom line to the whole thing. So with that being said, thank you for watching Ask Earl Anything. I hope I answered the questions. Please like and subscribe. If you like some of my merchandise, you know where to find it in my spring store. And I probably will run a special before Christmas at some point. So I'll figure out how to do that. I did that last Christmas. I think I got that mug for John. John got that mug probably with that special price. I don't know. You tell me if I'm telling the truth or not, John. I don't know. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you again real soon. Bye, everybody.